See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you see these danger signs, you see always yellow and black. And why is that? Goes back to what I was saying about color theory and how we perceive things that psychologically. See, this is what I'm talking about. You know, danger of death. It's yellow and black. Warning, danger of death. Warning, hazardous, dangerous storage area. Warning, radioactive, hazardous materials. You see, they're always usually yellow and black. And as I said, if you look in nature here, you see the combination of yellow and black is usually in creatures like this. You've got the wasps here. So the Most High designed them color combinations, man. And the way we associate certain things with certain colors. You know, so it's all by design of the Most High. But obviously Esau takes what that kind of knowledge and uses it on the left hand side. So going back to what I'm saying here, you see how different of a contrast this is? This looks safe. This looks okay. This looks non-threatening. And also the fact is, okay, they've surrounded the phone with these so-called safe colors, but what they've also surrounded the hand to make it seem like, oh, this is okay. You can take this. So coming back to the point, it says, pay with the wallet you're already holding, and it's making it look safe. So they're basically telling you, you've already got the device. There's nothing to worry about. You use it all the time. It's safe. You know, it's just your phone. But the device is being linked to the hand. And the hand is being shown to be safe. So psychologically, people read this as, oh, this is all right. Oh, it's convenient. There's nothing wrong with it. So if I go to the next image, check this out. Pushing it even further. Your wallet is on your wrist. Same principles again. Let's look at it. You got the white, so it's very striking. Black for the text, so it stands out. Then they're showing the wrist, right? And they've got the Apple Watch here device. And this is the wearable, and they want to change it to the implantable. But what they're showing is that, well, it looks like another Jake, doesn't it? Another so-called black person, right? Dark-skinned dude wearing this device. And the area where the device is surrounded by the colors, once again, blue, or I should say dark blue, light blue, and blue-green. And even the fact that they're using blue-green, because there's different levels to color, right? So I'm getting deep here, but let's break this down, right? If you think about the color wheel, so the color wheel is basically a circle where you have the colors cycling through each other. So let's say you think about a clock face, right? And let's say you could place different colors in their positions. So if you think of a clock face, you'd have 12 at the top, 6 at the bottom, 3 on the right, and 9 on the left. So if you imagine yellow being at the position of 12 o'clock on the clock, because yellow is the lightest color in the color spectrum in terms of color temperature, it's closest to white. If we were to move around the clock as if we were moving around the hands, as if the hands were moving around a clock face, you would cycle through the colors in these orders. It would go from yellow, then yellow would transition into yellow-green, which is a combination of yellow and green. Then it turns into direct green, which is 100% green. Then as you move around to the quarter past position, green transitions into blue-green, which is a combination of blue and green. Then it transitions into blue, right? Or 100% pure blue. Then it would transition as we get down to the 6 o'clock position into blue-violet, you know, which is a combination of blue and purple. Then it would transition into pure violet, which would be purple. Then it would transition into red-violet, which is a combination of red and violet, which is about the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock position. Then it would transition into pure red, which would be about the 9 o'clock position. Then the red would transition into red-orange at about 11 o'clock. Then pure orange, sorry, about 10 o'clock, red-orange. 11 o'clock, pure orange. Then you transition once again into orange yellow, which is a combination of orange and yellow. Then you get back to 12 and it'd be complete yellow again. That's how the color wheel cycles through, right? So the fact that they've chosen these specific colors, the green that they've chosen is blue-green, which is a combination of blue and green. They didn't use 100% pure green because that's not what they're pushing for. They're trying to push this as cool as it possibly can be, because pure green is warmer than blue-green, if that makes sense in terms of color temperatures. So it's all about them trying to psychologically make you feel non-threatened and cold, and you know, this is something that's completely going to fly under most people's radars. Psychologically, most people aren't going to clock the depths of what I'm trying to explain here. But thankfully, I've got a background in fine art and, you know, design and all these kind of principles. So the most I obviously got me into those things, so that now I'm able to break certain things down in terms of and also I've got a history in the psychology as well, so I'm able to tie the two things together to do lessons like this, which Lord willing is edifying, you know, because most people aren't educated in these types of things. For example, color theory, color temperature, psychology, advertising, propaganda, you know, all these are all different facets which you can study into when you get into visual art, because it's all interconnected and interwoven, because it's all about how people interpret images. And we all interpret images even if we're not educated in the principles, because there's certain things which trigger certain responses by how we're designed. Like I used the example of going back here, we are programmed, which means written before, to interpret certain things certain ways. So as I said, when we see yellow and black, we interpret danger, because that combination is usually associated with danger. And that's why these things work, because it's based upon rules. The way we psychologically interpret things is based upon rules, and Esau's not going to tell you these rules for the most part in the public school system, because he doesn't want you to be up on game. Because if you're too astute, let's get this word, I'm going a bit deep here, but let's get the words. If you're too astute, let's look this word up. If you're too astute, word meaning is keenly perceptive or discerning, or shrewd or cunning, then it's harder for Esau to trap you with his traps. Because if you remember, one of Esau's main characteristics is that he is a cunning hunter. So let's say you're a hunter and you set a snare for a bird, and you're sitting in the bushes and the bird comes along and you start shouting. The bird's going to know that you're there, and it's going to be more aware that there might be a trap, and it'll probably just fly away straight away. So when Esau sets his traps, he doesn't want the bird to know that there's a trap. So therefore, he's not going to teach the bird to be more perceptive, or the fact that he's hiding in the bushes waiting for the bird to put his foot in the snare and get caught. So Esau's not really going to readily teach you about this stuff unless you really get deeply involved in it. And really that means doing a certain amount of reading and research for yourself. Like reading a lot of books and learning this theory, because for the most part, he's not going to sit you in a classroom and teach you how to be more discerning and astute. So yeah, it means shrewd, sly, cunning, equivalent of cleverness. There you go. From Latin astutus, cunning. From astutus, meaning cleverness. So Esau's whole thing is to try and keep you stupid and ignorant and in the dark to what he's trying to do. So back to this, it says your wallet is already forgive me, I don't want to add a word to it. It says your wallet is on your wrist. So when people see this, they walk past and they're like, oh, they just ignore it. But in their head, in their mind, in their subconscious, this sentence is currently... Let me break this down, slow down, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied. When people walk past adverts like this, for the most part, they're not going to look at it. on a conscious level because it's not very interesting. But on a subconscious level, you're being programmed because you walk past these words and you might not psychologically in your head think about it directly, but in your subconscious, this sentence is being repeated. Your wallet is on your wrist. 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 Right? Now, on a conscious level, someone's not thinking this. But this ties into two things. It ties into your subconscious, and it also ties into spirits and demons. Because I'm going to have to do a video on this. But I'm going all in here. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm, getting to the deeper stuff. So basically, spirits will talk to you. I should say demons will talk to you. Well, spirits can talk to you too, meaning because you've got good spirits on the right hand side and evil spirits on the left, and you're going to be spoken to by both. So I'll call the good spirits, good spirits, and the evil ones demons, right? And the word demon goes back to intelligence, because these beings are very, very intelligent, right? And they also know how to set traps for people and trick people, right? So let's say a person walks past this sign in the street and they're on their way to work or they're on their way home. They're probably thinking, oh, I've got to get to work on time. It's 8:30. I've got to be there in 10 minutes. And if I'm not, my boss is going to have a go at me and blah, blah, blah. They've got all these thoughts going on in their head. They walk past this advert. They're not going to, like me, I'll stop and I'll stand there and I'll look at it and I'll analyze it. But most people, they're not going to do that. They're just going to walk past because they're too busy or they're about whatever it is they're doing. But what happens is they see it. And when they see it, it gets imprinted in their subconscious. And these words will be repeated in their subconscious. So even though they might be thinking, I'm going home, I've got to cook dinner for my children. What am I going to cook? Oh, will it be pasta, or shall I do some rice and some fish? They're thinking about all these kind of thoughts, right? But in their subconscious, this sentence is being repeated. And it's being re-emphasized by the demons that are around them, because what most people don't understand is that demons can impersonate voices, even your own voice. I'm going to do a lesson on this because this is a very important topic which I think a lot of brothers overlook. But I'm going to say this again and I'm going to slow it down and pay attention. Demons can impersonate voices, even your own voice. So what does that mean? It means that demons can be talking to you and you might think that it's yourself talking to you, as in it sounds like your voice in your head, but really it's demons telling you things. Or I'll use another example. I'm very sensitive to this stuff, so this is why I've kind of got a bit of an insight to it. But there's a lot of people who aren't so insightful to this kind of operation of spirits. But I'll use an example. A lot of times when I was younger, I'd be home alone, sitting there. And when I'm say I'm younger, I mean like in my childhood and stuff like that. So I'd be sitting there, probably sitting there playing with toys or whatever it was I was doing. And I'd hear someone call me. Like, for example, it would sound like my mum's voice calling me for dinner. Or, I just hear someone call my name, but yet there's nobody in the house. So I'm like, I know nobody called me, but why am I hearing this person sounding like they're calling me? Or that they're saying something to me? And I learnt from an early age that, hang on a minute, something's not, there's nobody here. How can this person be calling me? Then I realized it was spirits. And you know what's funny? That's very similar to the story in the book of Samuel. So like I'm kind of going in here, but this is all through the spirit. So let me get this. There we go. This is all in the scriptures, man. Let me read this, right? It says 1 Samuel 3, starting at verse 1. And the child Samuel ministered unto Yahweh before Eli. And the word of Yahweh was precious in those days, because there was no open vision. So the word of the Lord was precious in those days, because there weren't many visions, interpretations, signs, right, to the prophets. And it came to pass at the time when Eli was laid down in his place, and his eyes began to wax dim, meaning that he was losing his sight and he could not see. And ere the lamp of the Most High went out in the temple of Yahweh, where the ark of the Most High God was, and Samuel was laid down to sleep. And Yahweh called Samuel, and he answered, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli, and said, Here I am, for thou callest me. And he said, I called not, lie down again. And he went to lay down. And Yahweh called yet again, Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called not, my son, lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know Yahweh, neither was the word of Yahweh yet revealed unto him. And Yahweh called Samuel again the third time, and he arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that Yahweh had called the child. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go, lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt speak. So thou shalt say, Speak, Yahweh, or speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. And there Yahweh came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. So, as I just used the example of a very similar thing happened to me when I was in my childhood. You know, I'd be sitting there in a house alone by myself. It would sound like the voice of my mum calling me. But yeah, I'm like, there's nobody in the house. How can she be calling me? Or it's just me and my brother sometimes. How could she be calling me when she's not even here? But really, at the time, I didn't really know the depths that I know now. But looking back, I can realize, hey, that was the Spirit of the Lord talking to me, calling my name. Now, I did perceive that, that it was spiritual, but I didn't know the depths of how interconnected things were, nor was I able to break things down like this through scripture at that age. But I did realize, hey, this is spirits, calling me or saying this or saying that. Now, what happens is sometimes the spirits will say something off to you. And that's when you've got to use the precepts in your head to be like, no, that's some bullshit, man, and rebuke the spirit that's trying to talk to you. But then at the same time, if you're discerning enough, you can sense when it's a righteous spirit is talking to you and telling you to do something or not do something. I'm going to use another example, like I'm going in. But, this is just me flowing in the spirit, man. And the Lord's got me talking now. There's other times when I feel spirits on me, and I'll use an example yesterday. Yesterday I was at night. I had to go out to pay water bill. I'd forgotten to pay it during the day, so I had to go to the shop and pay it in the evening. It's about 9 o'clock at night, and I was very tired because I had forgotten to take. I have to take certain medications long term due to my condition. So I'd forgotten to take it the day before. So when that happens, I'm much more sensitive in the spirit and things get a bit spooky. But I had to go and pay this bill because if I didn't, it'd be overdue. So I got up out of bed, went down to the shop down the road, off license, whatever, paid the bill. I came out the shop. And I had to cross a main road. And as I was walking out, I was looking up. And I saw a light in the sky. And I was thinking to myself, is that a chariot? And I was looking at it to see if I could see the flashing lights. Because usually airplanes will have the flashing lights, red, every so often. That's what the Esau's planes have. But I couldn't perceive any flashing light of that nature. So I was looking at it in the sky thinking, is it a chariot? Is it not? And I was looking at it really hard. And I was crossing the road at the time. And at the time, the traffic had stopped at the red light. So the road, there was no cars moving. I stepped out into the road. But I was still looking up. And my concentration was more on the potential chariot that I saw than the cars moving. And then, it's as if I felt two hands push me in my chest. And as they did, it made me look down, and I saw that a car had started moving towards me. And so then I quickly stepped out of the road. Now, this might sound weird, but it's like I physically felt two hands push me in the chest to make me look down and see that the car was coming towards me, and I got out of the road. Now, in Esau's world, that's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to feel hands touching you or pushing you or holding your hand or guiding you. But that's the nature of my condition, and all praises to the Most High. A lot of people would see it as a curse, but I see it as a blessing that I have these spiritual interactions. So I'm saying that to say spirits are real and spirits are active. Now, not everybody's awareness or discernment of spirits is going to be on the same level, because there's different levels to things, but it's happening nonetheless. Now, the more you focus on something, the more you'll be able to perceive it. Whereas if you don't look at something, you won't. For example, this might sound silly, but it's the same with, it's just a principle of life. Running out of space here. Bear with me, I'm going to start this lesson again. Bear with me.